Finding your mission after addiction. I'm excited to talk to you guys about this one today because this one's near and dear to my heart. This is for people who are in sobriety, have found themselves in recovery for a little bit of time, but it can also be for someone who's on the fence, who's thinking about getting sober, living a life of alcohol free, and give a little bit of motivation as far as finding their way. So many times in my life as a drinker, I did not know what I wanted to do in my life. I think it's like that for a lot of us. Some of us just don't really have much of a passion for things growing up. And then we find ourselves kind of at a crossroads once maybe high school's over in particular. We don't know what to choose for college. We don't know what to choose for work. We don't know really what we're passionate about and what brings us joy, what is more than just a paycheck, what is something that we re, that we crave when we wake up in our day, and we wake up and we find that it brings inspiration not only to ourselves but other people around us. So when I was stuck all those years in my addiction, I was confused about where I was going, what I was going to do, and this video is really something that a lot of times when I come up with videos, I'm inspired by a few things in particular, and I come up with them usually like one at a time. But a couple weeks ago, I rattled off like 4 or 5 things in a row, and I jotted them down. When I wrote this one down, I was excited about it. So here we are talking about it. And if you got anything in the comments about your passions, what brings you joy, how you came to find what your joy is in life and what your life's work is and your purpose is in life, please let us know. Needless to say, I've got a lot of faith. I've got a lot of belief in God, and that's really why I started this channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Josh, living life alcohol free. If you're returning, thank you so much for subscribing and following the channel. I truly appreciate you guys being here. And like I said, please fill up the comments with what you have in here after this video is over or during the video, and just kind of let us know what your mission is, what your purpose is, how you found it, why you found it, and we can go from there and start a little bit of a dialogue. But when I quit drinking, I wasn't planning to quit drinking. I really just wanted to be a regular drinker, have one or two, and be done. When I started therapy, I got to a point, um, I'd probably say a few weeks into it, where I thought, I don't want to return to drinking, and I'm feeling better, and I'm finding that, I want to see where this can go. I didn't have my purpose really in life yet. I mean, I had things that I enjoyed doing, but it was really nothing that I was going to be able to do for work. I've enjoyed the work that I've done over the last 7 or 8 years. It's some of the best work that I've done in my whole life. It's not something that I do. It's not a full-time job. It's a part-time job. I've had part-time work, and I've been blessed enough to be able to do that for the last 8 or 9 years. Before that, I was full-time. It wasn't something I was passionate about. I was good at it, but it brought in a steady paycheck. I was able to accumulate some, money in my retirement and accumulate a little bit of savings, but nothing to the point where it was like, this is my life's work. And so I fast forward to now, and just looking back on where I started in my recovery and just exactly where I came from. It's exciting to talk about because I didn't know what was in store when I quit drinking. I always, envisioned feeling better when I quit drinking. I always envisioned that I'd just, find more inspiration in my life. I'd feel like that black cloud lifted, and all those things did come true. All those things happened, but it didn't happen right away. some of the anxiety and some of the disappointment in life, I mean, they hung around for 6 months. It was around 6 months that I was alcohol free, that I was able to kind of not go to therapy anymore. I was able to get off of the antidepressant that I was on for a few years, and I felt like I had more of a grasp, I guess you can say, on life. Like I didn't feel like I needed to reach for things in order to feel something. I didn't have to, I didn't have to numb myself to feel what I had always wished I could feel. And it was a relief. Now, I didn't necessarily feel like I had like my purpose yet or knew what my mission was, but I always kind of felt like, and I heard someone say it recently, and this is kind of why it popped into my head. A man or a woman, it could be anybody, any person from any gender or any background of any kind. But a person needs their to know what their mission is in life. Without knowing what our mission is, we feel like we're lost. And if we're lost, we can fall into the trap of addiction. And it could be addiction to anything. Mine in particular was alcohol. But I mean, I had runs with marijuana. I had runs with like gambling, not hardcore, but to the point where it was like I really had to start to question, like, do I want to, spend my money on this? Do I want to waste my paychecks on this? Or in the case of weed, it was like I'm getting palpitations. I'm feeling like I'm lost. Yeah, I feel high. I feel a buzz, but like I got to a point where I knew that if I was, going to use it, that I might make bad choices. I might say things that I normally wouldn't say, and that went along with alcohol as well. But alcohol was kind of a gateway, and it was a gateway for me to make bad choices in life in general. And it was just one of those things where I started to recognize that if I was able to quit alcohol, I would be able to kind of control other things and other aspects of my life, have more self control, and maybe, just maybe, there come a time when I could figure out life. I mean, you look around and you see some people, and it seems like they have it all figured out. They have, a smile on their face. They have, a good car, a good job, a good house, a good family, a good, all these things that we project that is something that makes life whole. And they seem to have it all together, and you kind of look at that, and then you're kind of envious of it. It kind of makes you sick because you don't have it, or you wish you had it, and you don't. And it can be anything in particular that you find that you wished it was, but either way, you don't have it, and you don't have that mission, and whatever that idea is, it's hard to figure it out when we're clouded by drinking. So once I was able to get over the addiction, and if you are new to the channel, please check out some of my other videos. I'll post the link in the comment section below. But I kind of talk about the alcohol and what that does to us, and how that impacts our day-to-day lives, and our depression, and it leads to depression, it leads to anxiety, it leads to poor relationships, it can lead to just addiction, and it's hard to get out of that. But once we figure that out, and we're able to get over that, it took me, I would say, a good month solid to feel like I'm gaining on this. I don't have the cravings, like 30 days. I don't have the cravings that I did. They still come on, but not daily. They might come on like weekly or every few days, strong ones, like urges to drink. But it was after about 3 months where I really felt like had a stronghold on those urges, and when they would come on, I knew what to do. And then I kind of was able to make a plan and move on with my life. But when I got to the end of that year, I quit on April 27th, 2020. And so it was the beginning of summer. Summer was about to start. I spent pretty much all summer recovering from what felt like a long term addiction. I mean, what felt like a long term illness, I should say. I knew that it was I was able to give it weight and acknowledge that it was an addiction. Before that, I kind of just thought it was a habit. Like I could kind of take it or leave it, but I just enjoyed drinking, watching sports, watching movies, and things like that, going to breweries, and just, going to functions where alcohol was always present. And once I was able to kind of get over the abnormality of life without alcohol, that's really when true growth started. And I would say it happened at the end of that first year, going into the holidays. Needless to say, going into the holidays, going into like even going into fall, and going into fall is a huge thing because you got Halloween, then you got well, first, if you're a college football or a football fan in general, I mean, first you got football starting, then you got Halloween, then you've got Thanksgiving, then you've got Christmas, if you celebrate those. But it could be whatever holiday you celebrate. But it's during that time, it can be 3 months or so that you're you're around alcohol, you're craving it, you're missing out on it. You have FOMO, you have fear of missing out, and you wish you could do it. And so I got to that point where, yeah, I was feeling like, man, I feel like this sucks. But I got through that, and I got through the end of that year. And when I went into 2021, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was making resolutions, and I was making resolutions to kind of live a life and make a plan of what it was just going to look like to be alcohol free. I started to feel like I was enlightened. I was I was enlightened about myself, but also enlightened about life. I didn't feel so skeptical of people. I didn't feel like I didn't trust anything anymore. I kind of felt like I was getting to know myself and finding balance, and finding that life isn't as bad as I always kind of thought that it was. That I could embrace the things that I had in my life, even though everything wasn't perfect. I could embrace it, and I could use that to my advantage. And like I said, not drinking really helped lift that cloud off and give me the opportunity and the ability to introspect and to look at my life and be able to grow. And that was really the key. When I got to 2022, I grew in my faith. I found a church. I found the pastor that I had liked for a few years that left the church, opened up what ended up being a brand new church. And I attended the launch, and I attended, and I still attend. And what happens is, or what happened was, is that I started to grow in my faith. I started to kind of listen to what he had to say, and his philosophy on life is similar to mine, where you want to be a good spouse, you want to be a good husband, you want to be a good father, you want to be a good friend, and you do that by leading with love. You do that by um, unconditional love, the love that our Father gives to us, our Heavenly Father gives to us. And that's just what I embraced. And all that's not to say, and this is not any religious video by any means. I did have my channel start as kind of faith and sobriety, but I've kind of narrowed it down to just sobriety, just because that's really what my passion is talking about sobriety and how to kind of get there, how I got there, my experiences with it, and how you relate and how you can kind of get to it too, and sharing um, that with people. And it didn't come easy, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But it was growing in my faith and starting to trust the church, starting to trust God, starting to trust and really go from. I heard someone recently talk about, and I think it was Ethan Hawke, about how he was like basically on first base in his youth, in his religion and his faith, and once he started to find acting was his passion, that kind of became part of his spirituality, and he really left the religion part back in his youth. So he was basically on first base and just never really went further than that. But and as a 50-year-old man now, he's rekindling that passion for his faith, and now he's going to start rounding the bases. And looking back at that time for me, and even up till now, the last few years, 3 4 years, I've moved on and I'm rounding the bases, and that's really helped me grow in my sobriety, grow in my recovery, in my life, and it's made me a better person, not only just for myself but for those around me. So that's really what it was from 22 until now. But it was really in that time, uh, for a good 2 years, where I still was nervous to talk about my sobriety. I didn't know, I didn't trust people, I guess, enough to share it openly uh, with people in my life, let alone talk about it with people that I don't know. And honestly, it ends up being where I did a church testimonial last year, and it was for Easter. And I did that, and I was able to, in the same week, have an interview and a podcast with Annie Grace from This Naked Mind. And unfortunately, they changed their podcasting and their YouTube format, and mine was like the last, I think, one of the last ones to be. It never got released, and I was really disappointed about that. And as time went on, and I realized that wasn't going to happen, but my my pastor called me, and this was just about the same time as I did the podcast. But he called. He said, "I have Josh. I have this opportunity. Someone backed out, but would you want to do like a testimonial and have it be for Easter Sunday?" And I think it would be something that you could do. That you talk about your sobriety, but you talk about how God was the one. God gets all the glory, and God help. You can share with the congregation and with anybody that you want to. Basically, anybody that has the church YouTube channel, but you can share your testimonial, and just how much of an impact it's made on your daughters, your wife, your life, everything. And that doing that really just it was kind of like the icing on the cake, and it led me to think, if I can sit here in church with 1,000 people, is basically how many people were there, and have them, watching me up on screen there. And it wasn't like I had to go up and talk in person, but still, I could never imagine making a video, let alone having people watch it. And so that really started the um, the cascade of me thinking maybe I could do a YouTube channel. And I always kind of watched, uh, like Tony Robbins was someone who I really kind of watched a lot of YouTube videos about, from, I would say, like 2014 to 2020 when I quit drinking. I didn't watch so many after that. I started to kind of focus more on my recovery, but I always kind of thought I'd love to be a motivational speaker. I'd love to um, have the opportunity to kind of be an inspiration for other people, but I just didn't have that. Um, I didn't have it in me to do that because I wasn't where I needed to be in the first place. And I would, how can we, how can we be an inspiration to others if we're not inspiring to ourselves, if we don't feel inspired, if we don't feel these good things? And it was that really sparked me, that period of time that really sparked me to think, I think I can start this channel. And I put my church testimonial on there. I started making videos. They're short videos, not long, maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes. I think my longest was like 20 minutes at the time. And this whole first year was just about getting to know YouTube and getting to know the algorithm and getting to understand what content is good and not good, um, and just learn in that. And it's similar to what it was like when I quit drinking. It was just don't drink, and see what happens from there. And this past week, I got the opportunity to apply for the YouTube partnership program, and I was so excited about that. I kind of One of my videos started jumping up like a month ago, and I could see that it was heading in that direction, like out of nowhere. And it really just kind of made me feel like I put in a year's worth of work to get to this point, and it didn't just come easy. I see some people on here, they make videos, like their first video gets like 20 or 30,000 views, and they're monetized in the first like month. And I kind of would look at that like, how is that even possible? you know I'm struggling here, and I didn't get into this to make money. My main goal always was to just help help people, to give you guys information on how I got found success getting alcohol free, how like sharing the good news that um, sobriety is better than we could even ever imagine it to be. And um, and also just let you know that no matter what, you can do this. And it really takes kind of a community to do that, and that's kind of why I started this community. And then I also did started my Facebook group, Sobriety in the Storm. It's a private group. I'll also pin that in the comment section below with the link to the other videos of mine. But it's just to say that these things are stepping stones, and we don't always know what our purpose is. We don't always know what our mission is. But if we don't have an idea of what that is, we will get lost, and I got lost. I was lost and in the woods and in the weeds for 30 years basically. And it doesn't have to be that way. I always kind of looked at myself like, I'm just going to be a late bloomer anyway. So that's just par for the course. That's the way it goes. I mean, I'm 47 and I'm doing this now. But it doesn't really matter. I could be 80 years old and doing this now. We have, as long as we keep on putting one foot forward, and we just keep like trying and not giving in to the temptation of the easy outlet, the current of convenience. If we avoid doing that, and we make the choice that we don't always want to make, but we know that it's going to be to our benefit later. Once we do that, and we keep doing that, and we keep seeing the benefits of that, you want to keep doing that. and it becomes to the point where you don't even need to entertain the idea of using those things to, like alcohol, drugs, gambling. Like I said, those are just a few examples, but it could be anything. You don't want to go back to using that because you know that it does no good. It's like ending a bad relationship. You know that it ended poorly. If you go back to it again, it's not going to end better. It's going to end either the same or worse. So that's kind of why I feel like I never relapsed, and I never really felt like I needed to even entertain the idea of using things to escape. So, wherever you are in your journey, please just take solace in the fact that you're here, you're watching this. Let me know, let us know in the comments what your mission is, how you found that mission, what your success is in sobriety, if you've found success. Let us know if you're struggling, if you need help. Like I said, you can post on here. This is a great community to be able to do that. Or you can join my Facebook group, and that's another group it's a private group, so it's more like if you share your information, it's not all out there in the public, and that's kind of why I formed that group so that we can kind of share and not feel like we're worried about it being out there for anybody to see. So thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to watch this. So stay tuned for my next video on Wednesday. I've got new videos coming out Wednesdays and Sundays. Got a live stream. I plan on doing them every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This past week, I've had a lot going on, so I haven't been able to do it. But my goal is to stay consistent on that as much as possible. And if I can't make it, I'll let you guys know on the posts. So thank you all so much, and we'll see you soon. Have a great sober day.